I think we're good to start. So I can see most of the guys are logged in. So yeah, let's get it go. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar. My name is Shoaib Yunus. I'm a BIM specialist in civil infrastructure for Baker Baines. And today we're going to be looking at bridge design using Infraworks. Okay, I've seen a lot of this booming in the industry at the moment, especially in civil infrastructure. A lot of people, a lot of specialization is required for it, but there are tools and technology out there that can actually help you achieve such complex modeling and design in a much more easier and streamlined way. So if you haven't tuned into any of my webinars before, what I do is I take a basic approach in getting the understanding. As a professional that has been in consulting civil engineering, I feel understanding is the key aspect that is required by the individual to actually achieve what he needs to set out to do or his objective. If there's no understanding, then it's going to be an extremely daunting task to reach that end goal. But if you do understand it, it makes much more logic in terms of your sequence in attaining your final objective. So that's my approach on all my webinars. And yeah, today we're going to look at a basic approach for bridge design using Infraworks. And then as the series goes on throughout the year, we can actually build up into more complexity. So if you're joining in now and you have no idea more or less about bridge design or the concept about along it, this is a perfect webinar for you. And yeah, so let's get into it. All right, so this is my quick agenda. Like I said, our webinars are very short, mainstream, straight to the point, because we don't like lagging, and we get more or less get you to where you want in the quickest time. It's Friday, and I feel it's the best day to actually learn something. So let's get into it, right? So Infraworks, we can actually look at what is it. I have a lot of confusion in the industry as to what it does and its capabilities. And a lot of people in the industry actually haven't heard of it, which is quite surprising. But it's fine. You have to learn something new every day, and this is the day. So we're going to look at Infraworks itself, and then we're going to look at how it actually incorporates into your actual design workflow. Okay, there's no use having the tool, knowing what it does, looking at its great impacts in terms of your design or your project lifecycle, but not knowing exactly where to fit it. Okay, so I'm going to look into that. It's always more or less 90% overlapped by BIM specialists or technical presentations as to where it fits in. And to me, I find that a crucial component. So I'm going to show you exactly where it fits in. So as long as, like I said, if you can grasp the understanding of it, the application will become very, very easy in terms of implying it, right? So once we're going to do that, I'm going to show you, or we can have a quick look at the functionality overview, like what Infraworks actually can do. I've done some few slides on that. And then we're going to dive straight into a bridge model, right? So I've got a Infraworks model that I have generated already, and we're going to do a very basic bridge design from scratch. So I'm talking about not even the road is in the model. So you have a full understanding how you could actually go along, starting your bridge design, and of course, detailing and getting more finer tuned aspects into it. So this is a good platform, very, very good. And from a civil infrastructure perspective, this software, Infraworks, is going to be the future in terms of making things and, of course, infrastructure itself. Okay, and then, of course, we will conclude. If you have any questions and stuff like that, please use the chat box. After the webinar that we normally do, we normally post this recording up after some time with a link. If you have registered, of course, as you attended this webinar, you will see that you will receive a notification to say that the recording has been uploaded, so you can actually go and visit it again. And of course, you can share it with colleagues that couldn't make it today. So please keep an eye out for that. And all the questions that we normally receive via the chat option, we include it in our follow-up blog. So what I do is I take this webinar, I write a blog on it in terms of text, and of course the link to the actual recording is in that blog. And the questions at the end of the blog, you will see that there will be a section there that should we receive any questions, it will be typed in there with a proper response. So please, if you do have anything, please forward it through using the chat box, and then you will see the answers to it in the follow-up blog. Okay. And actually that snapshot that you're looking at on the right is actually the detailer in Infraworks. Okay, so it's not any artsy thing that I put together. It's actually a screenshot from the actual software. So you can see it's very visual. If you're a gamer as well, you would like the actual graphics. It's quite nice. It's actually built on a gaming engine, a part of it. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first part of it will be is what is Infraworks, right? So if you haven't heard of Infraworks, it's powerful conceptual design tool, all right? And it's mainly for infrastructure design. When I talk about infrastructure design, I'm talking about actual terrain, aerial imagery, bridge design, roads, and drainage, okay? So those are the main aspects. You can utilize it for much more if you're very well-versed or clued up with the software. And hopefully as the series goes, like I said, you will actually harness the power of the software by attending these webinars and actually playing with it, right? So that's exactly what it is. A lot of people say it's only for conceptual design. I disagree to a certain extent. The reason being is that once you have this conceptual design in the first place and you link it to your detailed design software, be it Civil 3D or Revit, once you update the civil or the detailed design, be it in Civil 3D or Revit, it actually updates the 3D model. So your Infraworks model becomes your actual final model, which is a quite cool byproduct if you're looking at the design interface. Okay, like I said, it's dynamic interface and it's interoperable. So if you want to do a quick conceptual design, normally if someone's not technically minded, if you're not used to looking at the 2D lines everywhere and knowing exactly what it is, but if you want just the grand picture of the actual 2D design, Infraworks is the best platform to actually pitch it in. So if you know that the client, which is most of the time not technical, right, who's actually funding the project or putting capital towards it, and they want to see what they're getting for their money, this is the exact or the perfect solution to actually portray that. So if you look at the snapshot on the right, if I had to say, okay, cool, this is the design that we are currently going to be going to, client, this is where the road is, this is where the houses are going to be. Do you approve it? Do you like what you see? And then you can actually make direct changes on this model in front of the client, or you could actually take his consideration into mind, make some modifications, and then you're good to go. So it speeds up that understanding process much more better. And I've seen it being applied for various designs for bridge alternatives between two cities, variations, road concepts, all of those things. So it's very, very powerful. And the fact that a lot of software across the AEC collection, that being the architecture, engineering, construction collection, as well as the PDM, product design and manufacturing, are all linking to this common base, you will see it will form a crucial, critical part of the actual center of every project. So it's, like I said, very, very easy to use, very simple because of the 3D nature. And please, if you haven't used it or haven't heard of it before, please download the trial, or you'll have my details at the end of the webinar. You can drop me an email and then we can take it from there and I can assist you. Okay, so, and then like I said, the last point there, it's the first and the last step. So it starts off as your conceptual design, and the byproduct actually forms the final component or the final 3D model of your detailed design. Okay. When it comes to the actual Infraworks capabilities, so I've just put on some there, all right, that I thought that stand out. The model builder is a fantastic tool. You'll see it once I get into the actual software. Fantastic tool to get you up and running off the ground as quick as possible. The interoperability also is a very key aspect, so that it talks to many different software. You've got multiple file formats, all right, and of course I think there's a GIS capability that's actually being built in, which I'm really excited to see soon. Intersection and roundabouts, I mean, I've seen complex diamond cloverleaf intersection model using the software. Fantastic, easy to understand and stuff like that. You got design criteria, and when I'm talking about that, it's ASHTO, LRFD, sorry, a bit tongue-tied there, Eurocode, those type of things built in. And I'm actually lobbying currently to get TMH7 built in. So yeah, there's a lot of movement in terms of that aspect. Like I said, there's a mobility analysis that you can use for intersections, and of course you can do amazing presentations, right? But we will get into that maybe in future webinars. And of course the red block being the bridge design and line girder analysis, that's what we're going to be looking at today. Okay, right, so that's just a quick fly through of the actual capabilities. And then this is very, very important, the Infraworks interoperability and the workflow. So if you're looking at this slide, right, you can see that it actually forms the center or the fulcrum of many design projects. This one here being mostly for civil and structural workflows. But as you can see, those software link in perfectly, right? So a lot of people didn't know what was FBX. You can see it's a format that actually is outputted to 3ds Max as well as Navisworks. So if you haven't heard of Navisworks, it's a clash detection tool, very successful in project management. It picks up clashes and it does 4D simulation of your construction. Okay, so it's a very good tool used for pipes, for rebar, for modeling, for roads, anything that you can feed it into Navisworks, and it can actually pick up if there's a clash or any interference before you can actually do construction. So if you have been in industry, you know, sometimes we figure out things a bit too late when it's already in construction phase, when that road has been fixed, the alignment has been fixed, and it's a bit too late, if not too costly, to actually remedy that, because you've got penalties, you've got timelines affected, and so forth, right? So Navisworks is a very, very good tool that's used to actually avoid that. Then you've got Inventor. So Inventor is used actually for guys in the mechanical or in the process plant space, used to actually manufacture and to assemble components. But now what we've done is we can actually use that to actually do bridge components. So I'm talking about your decks, your columns, your piers, your abutments, your joints. You can actually do the actual modeling in there, and then you can actually send it directly into your Infraworks library. And once you save it in there, you don't have to go and recreate your product. A lot of people don't know that, and they keep doing this tiresome task of recreating standard details. Just do it once, save it to your library, and it saves you so much of time. Okay. Then we've got 3ds Max. A lot of people, again, this tool is very, very seldomly used, but it's very powerful depending on the time you have, as well as the level of detail that you're aiming for. So Infraworks, to me, you can use it as it is in terms of presentations, portraying design intent and so forth like that. However, if you want to go to a much more detailed analysis or presentation rather, you can use 3ds Max to get it much more realistic. And of course, the software actually links in with virtual reality and stuff like that. Okay, so very, very cool functionality on that side. And then you can see there's Revit that you can use for your building. So if you're in the built environment, your architectural buildings, and of course your structural model, you can feed it directly into Infraworks. And of course, if you're into roads and bridges, Civil 3D, Revit, and Infraworks, that's what you would need. Civil 3D, of course, and vehicle tracking for the actual road component of it, to check if your design is within the design criteria, being it your minimum radiuses and stuff like that. And of course, your swept part, that's foolproof design, where you actually look at whether, I just use this quick example, if the truck can actually fit on that roundabout or not. So swept part is very, very cool in that aspect. And then of course you've got the Revit model, where you will actually do your actual bridge deck design or your components and feed it in. So you can see it forms very critical in the center there, and it's going to be remain there, I think, as the future progresses. So keep your eyes out for that. And that's just a quick rundown of the interoperability of things. And then if you're just looking at the Infraworks model itself, or the Infraworks software itself, this is the key functionalities that are built into it. Okay, you can do your proposals based on rules and analytics, What that means is, like I talked about the design codes, when you're doing your cloud computing, you can send your analysis up, we call it a line girder analysis, up into the cloud. So you don't have to, it doesn't hit your PC very heavily. It does the analysis and then it sends down a report for you, which you can edit, add your company logo, those type of things. I'm going to show you where to go add the info, but in terms of the report itself, I'm not going to generate it due to time constraints. And then once we got that, we can actually look at the quantities. Simple table. As you can see, it does your structural, your reinforcing, your precast, and then your cast in place concrete. So good for estimating your BOQs, build of materials, those type of things. And then of course visualization, which is a great part of the software and is actually winning a lot of work if used effectively. And then you've got documentation part of it. This is your interoperability, be it with Revit or with Civil 3D. And if anything gets updated in that column, you can actually go ahead and update your 3D model automatically with the sync. And then you've got Navisworks, like I said, for clash detection and construction staging. Okay. So now that you have a more or less some background on where we're coming from and what it does, we're going to dive straight into the software and do a very, very quick demonstration on using Infraworks. Okay, so enough with all the theory, let's get into the practical. So let me just switch my screen quickly. So just give me a second. Okay, so I've switched my screen. I'm just going to wait for it to update on your side. Okay, here we go. So welcome to Infraworks. If you haven't seen this before, all right, I'm going to zoom out. There's a model that I just created just for fun, just to more or less play with the software. It also comes default with Infraworks for you to also play around and try what features or what it can do. And this is the actual interface, right? The main functionality that you would actually look at or you want to start at is the actual eye symbol, right? So if you click on that, it's segregated into different types of options. Create and manage, you've got select, you've got create, conceptual, and then you've got these three main tools here on the top, right? So roads, of course, for roads design, you can see the symbol is clear enough. You've got bridges that you can do, and then of course you've got the drainage component of things, okay? So those are the three main tools that you would use. And of course, we'll come back to the model part of things where you can actually foolproof your model. But for time constraints, I'm just going to jump straight into the bridge, okay? So I've created a location, just a random location that I'm going to be using in the model, okay? All right, I was playing around early with it. I'm just going to show you. I've done a proposed bridge already, as you can see. All right, let it just update on your side quickly. Here we go. So yeah, that's just a bridge I was messing around and doing, and you can see it looks quite aesthetically pleasing, and trust me, it has intelligent data attached to it, which is the main thing, okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one from scratch. So let me go to my location. So let's say, for example, I wanted to do a bridge at this proposed location, okay? I'm just going to zoom into that a bit. Okay. So let's say, for example, we might need to actually insert a bridge here between the small hill or valley or whatever you want to call it. And the first thing you would need is an existing alignment, right? So you have to have something to give you a linking point or give you reference in terms of the actual link that you will be taking. So we'll have to actually draw in a road first. So I'm going to just drop in a quick road. Okay. So let's do that. Please don't judge my design skills here. I'm just doing it on the fly. As you can see, it's a live demonstration of things. So I'm just going to plot in more or less where I would want my road to be. I think that's good enough. Okay. So we've got our road, our plan fixed in. Okay, so let's just change the view a bit. Here we go, right? So that's more or less a road that I've done. If I can change this to give you a better view quickly. That's as quick as it is. Like I said, this is a live demo. So that's your road done quickly in terms of conceptual design. Of course, it has to be edited in terms of the actual detailed radii and stuff like that, but you can see it's quick, good to go, right? And you can see here what the software has done, because it has some intelligence in it. It's actually created a fill here, okay? Because it actually picked up that, you know what, for design, this will actually be a better way to go about it. Or it has picked up that there's been a drop in elevation here. So it would do this at times. So what we will have to do is now we will actually have to go and actually edit this actual bridge, or to place in the bridge. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to place a bridge maybe starting at, let's say, about there, right? And we're going to end it on about maybe somewhere there, right? So watch this. All I got to do is go to the bridge function on the top. So we're going to go there, and then we're going to say, you know what, we want to design a structure. And once you design the structure, it gives you three options. A new handy thing that they have actually added in is the tunnel functionality. If you haven't seen it, please go check out YouTube, or you can drop me an email. I'll send you some info. And you've got these type of bridges. Of course, you've got precast and you've got steel, right? So I'm going to be doing a precast one. So I'm going to go click on precast, and it's going to ask me to define along the road. So this wouldn't work if you don't have a road in, okay? So I'm going to just do a nice one. So I'm going to define it maybe till somewhere there. So, and once I've done the start to finish of the road, you're going to see it's going to actually generate the bridge for me. Okay, it's going to give me a first good option to go to, or perceived option, if I could put it that way. And it's going to just load it in for me, right? So you can see as you enter your dimensions, it tells you the start chainage, the end chainage, it gives you the length. So this bridge is approximately 700 meters in length, okay? So I'm gonna let the style actually load. If you do find that sometimes your computer is taking a bit too long, and what I mean by too long is like you can go grab lunch and come back and it's still rendering. It's more or less your application options or your actual hardware itself. Okay, but yeah, you could actually, I can give you more info on that. But yeah, we'll get to that at the end of the webinar. So as you can see, it has actually generated the actual bridge for me. Okay, just like that. Okay, like I said, I haven't tweaked the radii and stuff like that, but if I do edit it, the bridge will edit accordingly. Okay, what I mean by that is if I have to click on this road, for example, you can see I've given it an alignment. Let's go there, and you can actually edit it lane by lane if you'd like. Okay, it's as simple as dragging and dropping the actual positioning of the curve and stuff like that. But I'm not focusing more on the geometric side of things now. I'm actually focusing on the bridge aspect. So I'm gonna leave it as it is. So yeah, let me just zoom in here. You can see the style assigned to the actual bridge is quite nice. So if you're doing a two lane in each direction type of thing, you can actually go in here, assign a style, and you can actually present this to your client and say, listen, this is the vision. Do you like, do you concur, yes or no, and take it from there. Okay. Okay. So now that we have everything, you can actually go and also look at the actual elevation of super elevation of it. Okay, let me show you that very quickly. All right, or the cross section view. You can go and actually look at your cross section of your actual road. You can see it gives you the camber, and you can actually slip through your road as you're going. But like I said, also gives you your cut and fill areas at that actual chainage, and there's your super elevation view. Okay, but that's enough on the geometrics part of it. Let's get back to the road, or the bridge rather. So let's have a look here. So if I zoom in here, I can actually look at the intelligence attached to this component. So if I go click there, right, and if I expand my view here, just gonna move this a bit down. Here we go. Right, so it actually gives me the type of component assigned to this. So if I expand that and I go click on here, there are bridge types that you can actually, or assemblies that you can actually select that come default in the software. So you can see here in the small box, there's actually three that it could actually give me. The current one that is selected is, I think, the first one, if I'm not mistaken. But if I wanted to change it, I could actually click on here, right? And once I do, it'll actually update that option. Okay. And then you can actually choose whether you want to apply it to all of your actual components. So that's the current one that is selected, or you want to just make it part of a different one. So also you got your column components and stuff like that that you can add in. Let's try one, maybe put that there. Select that one. Okay. And you will see now that it'll actually update that column. Easy as that. So if you have Inventor or Revit and you're doing a custom components, you can actually save it to your Infraworks library and you can have access to actually select it. The exact same thing that I've done. And you can see it gives you all the dimension, the metadata attached to that option. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to show you that it is actually very, very easy to customize that. And of course, if you go below ground, which I'm doing right now, let's change this a bit. So that's above ground. You go below ground, you can see your pile, your caps and stuff are under. If you click on this, this is also fully editable, right? So you've got configurations that you can use according to what you'd like. And then if you want custom ones, you can either edit this and save it over, or save as and create a new one, or do a new one either in Inventor or Revit and import it into your library. So I'm not gonna more or less do anything on that part of things, but now I'm just showing you that there's a lot of basic functionality that you can harness to actually get you to 70%, or if not, if you get well versed with the design, actually 90% to detail. Okay. So now that we have our bridge locked in, more or less, you can actually go and see in terms of the analysis part of things, right? So you can see if there's dynamic dimensions attached to it as you're looking at it, and you can add a pier, you can do components, and the cool thing is the actual quantities, right? So let's click on quantities, right? It'll take a little time to update. As you can see, it's updating a bit, and here you are. It does your concrete and precast, all of that gives you a good figure. So if you're doing your bill of quantities or your bill of materials rather, you can go sit with a prelim figure or a more or less ballpark figure to use, which is fairly accurate, and you can do your costing based on that. I know we engineers, we like doing things conservatively, but this gives you a very good base to ensure that you are on par and you quoting and doing your costing very realistically. Okay. If this had a reinforcing in it, of course, like I said, that's done in more or less Revit. If you had that and your model update, it will be able to give you those quantities. So I'm just going to close that. And then, of course, if you come here, for example, show you this. There is a send to Revit option. So I've been receiving this query a lot over the few months that interoperability is very hard. I swear to you, if you're going to look here right now, it is so easy. I'm not going to export it to Revit, but I'm going to show you exactly what it asks for, and it'll open directly into Revit. Okay, so if I go here, send to Revit, okay, and if I say create new, you see this is the error that's actually putting a lot of people off, and it's a simple remedy to do this. All it's telling you is that your system, your survey system, be it your allo systems or your WGS or whatever, it's not set up, so Revit will not actually pick up the actual positioning of your bridge. And then where you're using shared coordinates in Revit to confirm the positioning, it's not going to pick up. So it's actually giving you a heads up that, listen, you actually need to go and confirm the actual positioning and accuracy of the actual bridge model. Once you've done that, cool, we can send it directly to Revit, and then it will open up. So once you do set this and you say send to Revit, it will send it to Revit, and Revit will open up with the bridge model. It is as simple as that. If you make any changes in Revit and you go up, or you make any changes in the 3D model itself, there will be a pop-up to tell you, listen, there has been a change, please update the model. It's as simple as that. So please don't get thrown off by this. It's a simple fix, and I'm going to show you where to go fix it right now. Okay. So if you go click open model properties, you can see that it's giving you a more or less the details of the actual model or the data. And then this is what's actually throwing it off. It is your LL84, so lat long, latitude, longitude, but you can go and change this. So if I go here and I click on the globe itself, these are all the preloaded allo systems or survey systems throughout the entire world. And since we are in South Africa, I'll type in South Africa. Okay, so let's go here. Let me just scroll to this. Oh, I think it's captured it as Republic of South Africa. So let's go South Africa. Here we go, Republic of South Africa. And once you select it, you can see all our allo systems, our WGS, our Cape coordinates are all in here. So you need to go and set the correct one. If you're not sure, like what I do, I contact the surveyor to confirm, because that is their profession and it's quite easy for them to understand, right? So they will give you the correct system of survey, set that up, and then you can export your model to Revit. There will be no problems, okay? So it's as simple as that. It's a quick fix. Okay, so I'm gonna just click escape here, and this is more or less the X and Y that is actually picking up, and that's the actual extent of your model. So you can go and actually select a region of the model, or you can tick here and say use entire model. It's totally up to you. But yeah, I'm gonna just leave that and click cancel. If you can't find it on the Revit pop-up, there's another way you can go. Okay, so if I go to here, in fact, go to settings. You can see here, there's model properties. It takes you to the exact same menu. Okay, so there's many ways to find it. You just have to keep calm and find it, or just have a look, right? So once we have that done, like I said, it will export directly to Revit, and then you'll open up in Revit. It's the exact same way with Civil 3D. Actually, it's much more, I would say, functional for Civil 3D, in the sense that if you go here, let me just switch my screens quickly. Okay, so if you had to open up Civil 3D, it's as simple as an Infraworks button on the Insert tab. You just come in here, you say Open Infraworks Model, you navigate to your actual model, wherever it's saved, for example. You see it generates an SQLite, right? So that's a native format. You can do an IMX, but just keep it to SQLite, it's better. Click Open. And then you'll see it'll also give me the same option here that, listen, you haven't set a coordinate system. Once you set the coordinate system, it'll bring in the model, and you can actually select the type of data that you want to bring in and click open model, and it'll bring it directly into Civil 3D. It's as simple as that when it comes to interoperability. If you look at it, it's basically 2 clicks. So let's get back to the Infraworks model. So now that we have our bridge designed, we're happy with the piers, we can edit it in Revit or Civil 3D, those type of things. We can actually run an analysis. So I'm going to show you where to go for the analysis part of things. So I'm going to go to the bridge, and then from there, you'll see that there is a review or analysis tab. We're going to click that, and then you see that there's a line girder analysis button on here. So if I go here, it'll ask me to select the bridge and stuff like that. I simply click on here. If I want to edit information, right? So if you wanted more info on the analysis part of things, if you click on this link, it'll open up a URL link that you would go onto the web, and it'll give you more info. If you want to edit the project information, these are all fully editable. So you can add your name, you can add your factors, what type of project it is, the drawing number or the job number, those type of things. And you can edit it in here. Once it runs the analysis in the actual cloud, it will take a few minutes depending on the size of your bridge. Can take a little bit long, but once it's done, you can actually work while it's doing analysis. And then from there, once the results is available, it'll ask you to download it in a PDF or whatever, and then you can go through it and tweak it according to your custom or your company standards. So it's easy as that. If you're looking at, like I said, customization, it's all in here and you can do it. Okay. All right. If you look on the right hand side, you can also, like I said, you can do different types of metadata you can add in here. You can use JSON files, which is a bit more complex, where you can add in much more data. And like I said, if you the advantage of doing it in an Inventor, it comes attached with all this metadata on your left. So if you do any components, it's a very good idea to do it in there. If you don't have Inventor, try doing it in Revit. It should come also through with that. Okay. So yeah, that's just simple bridge design. And then of course, if you're looking at actual data in the model, there's places that you can actually go and add it in. There's also data sources. That's what I'm talking about. This is shows you more or less all the data that's imported into your actual drawing, right? And if you want to add stuff, you can actually go in here and use different types of files. You can see the GIS, actually it is in here. That's cool. So they already loaded this. This was actually probably less than a week that they made the announcements. It's quite cool. You can bring in direct shape files into here, SDF, which is a special data file that's made by Autodesk. Shape, if you're Esri or GIS based, you can bring that directly in and so forth. So there's a lot of compatibility in here that you can bring in. And once you import that, you can actually go and do your designs much more in depth. Okay, I'm going to close that. And then, of course, I just want to end off with this very quickly. If you look at the conceptual view, that's what it's currently set to. But we have something called an engineering view, okay? A lot of people don't know this. So if I click on engineering view, let's see if you can pick the difference up. Okay, can you see that it more or less gives us the stuff that we want to look at? Okay, so what it does is it dims the actual pretty picture of things, if I could put it that way, and it gives us more or less the contours. It gives us all the engineering facets that actually need to stand out. So if I zoom out, you can even see that the roads are actually more highlighted or more displayed. It's like a bring to front option or display option in Civil 3D or AutoCAD, and you can see all the structures and stuff like that are actually brought or highlighted. Okay, so if you wanted to do that and you wanted to bring in and concentrate on more or less the engineering functions, please use the engineering view. If not, you can leave it on conceptual and you can do your designs as you go along with it. Okay, again, it also has added functionality with BIM now. So your BIM 360 tools here, and of course you got something called share views, where you can share your model with guys on the web, and you can use a link to use basic viewing function. So it's very, very basic, okay? And then of course, once you do your model and you've confirmed it, you're happy with what you see, you can actually go do a proposal, a fly through, a presentation, save it to MP4, and you will be good to go, okay? But as I mentioned previously, I'm going to be looking into that to show you how to do it step by step. This is the most basic way I could have thought of to show you how to create a bridge from scratch. You saw I had nothing on the terrain. I drew in the road. I put in the style that I wanted. From there, I defined the start and finish of the bridge in terms of the stations. And then from there, generated it using a best fit. And then if you had custom components, you assign it to your piers, your decks, your pile foundations, those type of things, and then you run an analysis. It does it in cloud with cloud computing, which is fantastic, and then you get a PDF and images from there. So very straightforward. It's not as complex as you thought it would be. Okay, and yeah, that's just a quick rundown for this 45 minutes that I've been given for Infraworks. So I'm going to switch back quickly to my presentation slides so that we can conclude, and yeah, we can take it from there. So just let me switch my screen. Okay, so that's where we more or less left it. You saw we had a very quick demonstration. We'll get into the fine-tune things with using Revit and Civil 3D in the future, but this is good enough to actually get you off and running with the actual interface and the usability of the actual software, so it doesn't put you off. Okay. All right. So now that you've seen a quick demo of it, I'm just going to conclude by telling you this, what we've covered. You can see it's formed a vital part of the workflows, be it in infrastructure, be it in build, be it in process plant, energy, mechanical, plant layout. It's going to be the crucial, vital fulcrum or the epicenter of all of your design projects soon, okay? Because you're going to have a 3D render that's always been asked throughout this year especially. And then you see it has road, drainage, and bridge functionalities. And then we use cloud computing to actually do the actual analysis. And then the result of it is a sustainable design and a live model generation. So you have a live model that's feeding intelligent model, data to it, where you can share it with the people, be it in a consortium or other engineers or other design professionals working on a project across platforms, making it much more easier to integrate, to operate, and also to design and make happen. Okay, so it gives you much more flexibility to take on those projects which you have thought that you couldn't have done due to the complexity of it. But now you've got the tools, you've got the technology, you just need the workflow, the process, and the application to get it through. Okay, so that's how I conclude. And then this is exactly what we Baker Bains help with. So we don't just give you the software, we tell you about the software, we show you how you use it, how you can apply it, and we can actually do tailor-made design options, workflows, and stuff prior or particular to your company, right? So this is all our information. So if you haven't heard of us, we Baker Bains. We're based in our head office is in Johannesburg, but we work throughout the country, throughout the continent as well. And we do webinars on a weekly basis in different aspects. So we have webinars in Revit with architecture. We do structural. We do MEP. We do process plant, be it inventor and those type of things. And of course, we do civil infrastructure, which I do, as you're seeing right now, where I cover roads, bridges, and those type of things. So these are all our contact information in terms of following us, or if you want to get in touch with us. You can see there's our LinkedIn, and of course there's my personal LinkedIn in here. So if you want, please add me. I always post new functions, new webinars on there first. So if you clued up with LinkedIn, it's the best platform to actually be aware of these things happening, our webinars. If we're in your area, if we're hosting any events and stuff, you will see it on our LinkedIn. And of course, you have my email. It's shuaib@bakerbains.com, where if you have future topics that you would like us to cover, it's nice to see how our community interacts. So what's challenging you in the industry and stuff like that, and you would like us to have a webinar, and if you get enough queries on it, I would personally host that and show you how to tackle it. Okay, so you definitely not alone. You do have us as backup, so you've got enough ammunition to help you tackle your design workforce. Okay, so please, those are our contacts. Please do engage with us, even if you just want to say hi or you want to give comments, feedback on the webinars that we're currently having. Please do. We really do value it, myself especially, to see that we're gauging a right audience and we focusing on the right type of aspects. Okay, so thank you very much. I'm gonna close the webinar now. If there is any questions, I would look at your chat box and we will include it in the follow-up blog. So thank you very much. Have an awesome Friday, a great weekend, and yeah, see you soon on our next Learning Friday. So thank you very much and have a good day.